It is very hard to focus on a recovery when you're in the middle of a pandemic. When you're shutting down part of your operations, letting people go, struggling with next steps, it's just incredibly difficult to be thinking down the road, 6 months from now or 3 months from now, whatever it's going to be. Nobody knows when to reopen or commence operations. We have had a lot of clients that have had to do total shutdowns, and especially in like restaurants and retail and travel services, they are 100% shut down. They have had to release virtually all their employees. Maybe they have a small skeleton staff, and they are struggling with dealing with landlords. They're dealing with vendors. They're dealing with their banks, struggling trying to get the COVID PPP, SBA loans, trying to get business interruption insurance, dealing with the day-to-day, and they are sometimes forgetting they have to restart in 6 months. And management has that challenge where they have to fly at 5,000 feet and deal with the immediate issues, but they also have to fly at 100,000 feet and look ahead and see where they're going to come out and where they're going. And that's a really incredible different thing to do. So you got to be framing a recovery. How am I going to come out? How am I going to do this? And be able to convey that to the key stakeholders so that they will support the effort. So you have to get the key stakeholders to rally behind this, your banks, your landlords, your vendors, equity, whoever has a vested stake in the outcome has to understand what you're doing. And for that, you first have to envision what that's going to look like. So I'm going to use a restaurant chain, for example. If you're going to reopen in 3 months, the first thing you have to think about, what are you going to reopen with? Was the offering that you had before the closure, was it optimum, or can you fine tune it? Like, let's say maybe you had some buffet dessert or salads. That may not work anymore. You may have to have a server, portion that out. Or you had locations that were not ideal, or you were in markets that were not ideal. They were not media efficient markets. So you have to look at what would it look like when you come out, and what's the optimum, and use this downturn to your advantage to rethink what it's going to be. So you have to come up with a budget for that. So if you're a restaurant chain, maybe you had 100 stores, maybe you need only 60 of them in the best markets, and you have to fine tune what they're going to look like and what the offering is. So you have to put that all together. Now, in a restaurant, a majority of the employees are slightly better than minimum wage, other than the store managers and assistant store managers and district managers. So a lot of those employees have probably left. They've gone on. And so you're going to have a training program for the new people. So you've got to train your new people. Then you have to have a market offering, like a coming out, a reopening thing, and you have to rethink of what that marketing is. How are you going to reach those customers? How are you also going to reach customers that weren't there before? How are you going to get to them? And so you have to come up with a budget for that and an offering, and you may have to have a very compelling price point to get people back in your stores. And you also need to make sure while you're doing all this, you're applying for the money, getting your insurance for business interruption. A lot of states are pushing for that to be funded by insurance companies, and the federal government's pushing for that, and getting your SBA and whatever funds you need, and put all of that together in a package where you're thinking about the future, what it's going to look like, even though in the darkest of times, that's very hard to do. So focus on the future for some point in time, what you think it could be. Develop a budget for that. Convey that budget to your stakeholders so they will support it. And then rally the troops and plan to come out and reorganize out of this COVID mess. So best of luck, and keep your eyes on the horizon. Take care.